Okay, I guess let's get started. Let's see. You have a link to the document one?
Yeah, 1 second. Copy here, paste it in the.
All right, I see it. I can grab that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen just for the sake of our viewers. And
Sure.
that way we can kind of run through this real quick. So I think some of the things I think we've gone back and forth with that I could kind of start off with are these. This right here.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't know if you've updated your comment, but I want to kind of express it again, maybe here and see if you know if it makes sense to go through with it or
Yeah.
if something I'm missing. But I guess what I envision is when you run like this layout directory or this layout flag that we could pass. What do you have an example here? That we could just pass in the directory, like whatever directory it may be that we want it in.
Yeah.
Right. And then kind of the inverse, I don't know if it makes sense to have a defaults directory for that purpose, right? So if you think about it, if we get rid of the default, right?
Okay.
Only had whether this environment variable is present and filled in, that means yes, enable layouts. If it's not present or it's an empty string, then no, don't use OCI layouts.
Okay. Yes, I believe that. I believe I deleted the comment before, but yes, that was my doubt. If we wanted to provide the default one, then how? I mean, there was one scenario there that I need the flag. This one, if we provide if we provide the default, then okay, I will need both input. But yes, now if we said no, I am not going to provide any default value, and if you enable the feature with the flag, then you have to tell me where to put the image. I believe yes, in that case, it's fine. Yeah, we can do that. And one thing is, I have this doubt. Platform can mount any local folder to any volume in the life cycle, like the, yes, for example, if I want to mount something different than layers, slash whatever I want, is that possible right now? Yes, in the life cycle.
So the life cycle, I mean, I can't speak to the life cycle, but the way I envision it is from a platform set of things. Like, yeah, right. You, let's say, I'm a Tecton task or whatever, right? Like whatever the platform may be, even Pack, and say like, hey,
Okay.
I want this one directory will always be mounted, right? And it's going to be at, you know, slash OCI layout, right?
Okay.
Or slash OCI, right?
Okay.
This OCI is going to be shared across every single build. Doesn't matter, right? I don't care.
Okay.
Right. And because of that, I would then want to specify that this flag, whether it's a flag or the environment variable, to say, okay, everything that you create and anything that you want to resolve or search for, as far as images goes, go look at this path, which will be /OCI,
Okay.
right? And now the
Okay.
next build, again, same thing. Like, so we could share stuff. Essentially, it's like having a remote registry, but in a
Yeah.
direct form, right?
In a directory. Okay, so the idea will be, okay, if you use the layout form, you will be layout and the stream value with the path you want me. And the other one you mentioned was this. Okay, maybe I don't want to send the layout flag to all the faces. Then I can just enable maybe one environment variable and say this is the path, and then lifecycle will say, okay, the environment variable was set. Let me use it, and that's it. You don't have to send through the value through the flag. Okay, got it. Yeah. Let me do that change. That's fine.
Awesome. Let's see. The only other thing that I felt I was wondering if we could find a different format is this idea of using the SHA, the digest, essentially,
Yeah.
as the directory structure for images. And this is something I haven't thought about too much, but part of me kind of envisions or likes the idea of the user being able to specify either paths or human readable names.
Okay.
Right? So for instance, if I wanted to use Ubuntu Bionic, right? I should be able to say like, hey, my run image is Ubuntu Bionic, right? Whether that's name, whether that's a URI like this, right? That says OCI : Ubuntu : Bionic, right? Like, is that doable? And then would this then be able to search this directory structure for it? So there's OCI and what else does Scopio define?
They have different transport, I think. So they have directory, they have this Docker daemon transport, they have like 7 different transport. Yeah, click there. I believe they mentioned those.
You know where they define all their
Go down. I believe there is at the end, they mentioned, maybe it's on the copy. Just click on the copy one. There is a place where they mentioned this name, and then they said, maybe go down. Yeah, the examples, they have it, and then I believe they mentioned different. So, what it is.
I know I've seen a list in the past.
Yes, I also saw it. Let me see if I have the link open here. Because yes, they said, okay, name could be some transport and then something else. And depending on the transport, they, they do something with it. And at the beginning, I was thinking on that. Okay, here it is. And then I at the beginning I had, like Ubuntu there. And that was the root folder name. And then I said, okay, now if I was thinking on, okay, maybe from platform perspective, if something changed, then maybe if you can, have a quickly way to make so that this folder is different than this one. I don't know, maybe you have Ubuntu and you did something to the Ubuntu image. But I don't know, from user perspective, I said, okay, I want to call it Ubuntu because this is what I want, because what I understand. But I said, okay, how can I do? How can I, if I'm saving all this image in a folder, to share it with the life cycle, how can, you know, make a difference on them just based on the name? And that's why I came out with, okay, but if I have this ID, which is going to be, if there are two images of the same theme, but there is some difference between them, then the ID is going to tell me if both images that are the same are different somehow. Then that's why I put the image ID, because I wanted to give the possibility for the platform perspective to keep maybe different image of the same thing without having to rename the root folder, and I don't know, they can do that with that thing.
So are you saying, like, let's say that I had Ubuntu latest and I had just like Ubuntu dash some other name, right? Like,
could be, yes.
And both of them are the exact same image with the exact same blobs. The only difference is the image name. You're saying you'd want them to have the shared layers, the blobs. Is that what I'm hearing?
Or yes, I was thinking on, okay, I'm going to output OCI image in a folder. Then maybe you build my thing, right? And this is the image I generate. And then you have to give me that one back as a previous image, for example. And if I generate different image of the same thing, and I call them, all of them, I don't know, foo, then, okay, how, I don't know. I thought that maybe keeping the digest was going to be easy for the platform to keep track of them and share layers or whatever they want, to find a way how to identify that this is exactly the image I want, or I need a different one, or a modified one or something. And with the name, if I put human readable name, maybe I was not able to differentiate that. So I wanted to make clear that I wanted to give the option to make clear to the platform to say, this is the image. Even maybe I have different versions of it, this is the one I want you to use. And it's using the image ID maybe was that idea behind my mind.
I guess the part that I'm a little bit confused or concerned about is, let's say this example OCI.
Yeah, yes, that's, and I haven't put that one because I haven't wrote the exporter, because I have that thing. I was thinking, okay, the user is going to give me a human readable name, example OCI, for example. Okay, I'm going to save it. Maybe I'm going to save it like a folder example OCI image, because that's what you tell me. And maybe platform can do something with that, right? Maybe it's going to put it on the daemon or save it somehow. Now, on the next build, you are going to give me that one back on the previous image flag.
Right.
So,
yeah.
And
so
then
here you would have example OCI as well, right?
Yes, that was the first thing I put there. And then I said, okay, but what about if, I don't know, it's the same thing saved in different point of time, or how maybe this will be complicated from platform perspective to make a difference between them, right?
Platform, I think you might be thinking about the concerns from the lifecycle perspective. They need to keep track of the digest, right? And that's part of analyze, if you remember, or like analyze, if I'm not mistaken, will actually take the digest of the image provided. So if is this analyze? Yeah. So the analyzer, you give it example OCI, it'll go and resolve it, right? In the registry, it'll go up to the registry, and it'll pull it down, at least the manifest, and say, okay, this is the diff ID, right? And so then it adds that diff ID to one of the metadata labels or layers that then goes on to the next step or next phase. And then it essentially ensures that that is the digest that you continue to use, or the exact same image that you continue to use. So when you do the pulling of the image, you pull it now by that digest, right?
Okay, yes.
we would need to be able to do the same thing here. It's like, okay, so from a analyzer perspective, we're going to pass it a human readable name. There's no way around that, right? You can't create a digest for a thing that doesn't exist yet.
Correct.
Right. So
correct. Yes.
Example OCI, and the life cycles analyzer is going to search for it in the layout directory, OCI directory, right?
Yes.
And it's going to find one, right? Let's say this is latest, so it would find whatever the latest is, and it would say, okay, now this is the digest of that latest version. And now it would have to then be able to go back for the next phase. Let's say, is it the detector?
Yes.
And then in that case, again, this is where I'm a little bit loose on exactly what happens behind the scenes, but I'm envisioning that it will have to reference and use that exact same image. So therefore it would have to be able to find it by its name and digest. So now that's a kind of use case that we have to think about when we look at this. Okay, will I be able to find the image by name and digest? Right now, I wouldn't be able to do that.
Okay, and no, exactly. Now, if the root, then if after images or wherever we're platform decide to put the image, then we can have, for example, OCI, and then then maybe another one inside with the digest or something, or maybe just keep that one without the digest. It's without the digest was the first thing I did. Instead of calling the previous image and the run image with the SHA, you will have OCI, example OCI, and maybe Ubuntu Bionic, and that's it. That was the first one I did. But then I had then I also had the doubt regarding the specification. What about what should the analyzer put on the analyze TOML file?
And right. We have a snapshot of that here, right? If I see there's a reference, so typically this reference, if I'm not mistaken, would be the fully qualified name, right? So it would be registry name plus digest.
Okay. And right. If I'm not using a registry, in this case, just a folder, it's valid to put like a path.
Right. And I think that's where I'm hoping we can get away with this, which is starting to leverage what Scopio has defined to be
okay.
RIs, which again, it sucks that we can't find it.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it. But I also I'm in this page. Let me see.
Okay, here you go. Image names.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
All right. So if we have these image names, right, then I could think about it like, okay, so we want to do OCI, right? So OCI path tag seems reasonable enough. So can we use in this, like in your case, the reference here, OCI colon the path to it, right? Mm-hmm. Would that make sense?
With that?
Does the path have to be absolute?
I think it's relative.
So for us, it would be preferable if it was relative to the variable.
The flag, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Path. Okay, that makes sense. Is this one storage manifest layer tarballs? This is non-standardized format. Okay, non-standardized. Okay, and then we have OCA archive, which I'm assuming is like a zip or tar.
Yeah. Instead of a folder, it's a tar. Yeah.
So basically, it's our CNB format, if you recall from our distro stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so now the only other question I had was index JSON. Must exist, must be this. There's an index JSON section of this. Entry point for references to the descriptor of the image layout. Multi-descriptor entry point. Okay, this is what I was trying to get at. Blah, blah, blah. So if we look at this one, okay, this is what I was going to propose initially. So let's get rid of it. So we have this like OCI directory.
Yes.
Right. And inside of here, we had image name. Right. Inside of here,
Yes.
we index.json and
Blobs.
OCI layout, because that's necessary. Right. And
Yeah.
blobs.
Blobs.
Okay. And now in blobs, we had SHA. The 256. Yeah.
And whatever. That's correct.
Dude, what happened to my cursor? There you go. Okay. So now we have these. So this would be the image name. So let's say that, you know, more specifically, we had Ubuntu, right? So this will give us the image name here. And then inside of the index, that's where you would find all your tags, right? So you would find, let's say, latest or Bionic, and then you would say, okay, this is my Bionic one. Now this is the digest, right? I'm assuming this digest then points to the
configuration file.
This would point to an index.
Yeah, I believe in my doc there is, I don't know if I put it there, but
Yes, it would point to an index, which is like this.
That's the index file. Then if you go into that digest, then that, I believe that one is the configuration file.
This would be the manifest, right? So now if we look at manifests, a manifest would then have the configuration. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Manifest would be, yes, this part here.
Yeah.
Right? And then you would have additional, what is it called? The container configuration here. And you would have all your layouts here.
Layers.
Yeah, layout. Correct. And so all these digests, right? This whole tree that we just went down, right? They're all just blobs, right? So in our case, here, this would be an index blob.
Okay, yes.
It could be a manifest blob. Or it could be a layer blob. Right?
Yes.
And the only way the entry point is essentially this index that has then tags that then points you to indexes that then points you to manifests. Then I guess, oh, we're missing one that then it points you to container configs. So config block. Right. So one, I'm going to label these for our sake, although this is kind of terrible. Sorry, this is 3, 4, 5. So these are the steps necessary in order for you to find an image or all the image bits, right? You go here, search by label, you go here, you search by platform and whatever other stuff is necessary. Is that what the index is for? It points you to the different manifests. So that would be the tags. Am I missing something?
No.
So this is an index. So this is the index JSON that points us to a different index. And or manifest. Maybe there's a step we don't need in the middle.
Yeah, could be.
Give me a second. I gotta take this call real quick.
No worries.